Hold that asinine thought. Who is this armed stranger who just wandered into your office? Back up for a fight you can't finish? Look at the poor Rizzo's manager, lying about Sublight to make himself feel better. Shame he skipped where Rizzo's was short on our payments months before the new unveiling. There are a suite of explanations for what could have happened, most pointing to Rizzo's worker incompetence. My people didn't sabotage anything. While I'm sure you'd love to have a scapegoat on whom you can pin your own incompetence, I suspect you'll be disappointed. But what do I know? I suppose it's up to your new hiree. How many times do I have to tell you this, old man? Slug isn't behind your problems. Slug wouldn't even need to cause you problems. Your own workers do enough. Please. We're subtle, but that's too subtle. If we wanted to destroy your saplings, you'd have known them by the blackened remnants of their stems, not some half-assed poisoning. Efficient. I like that. One less expense for you to explain to your bosses, Hathaway. Lucky you. Never did like leaving a job half-finished myself. But that's me. Let's go through this one final time so even you can't confuse it, Hathaway. Slug didn't do a damn thing to your orchards. You're chasing ghosts. What the hell. The orchardist seems to get off on complicating what should be a simple deal, but at this point, I just want to be paid and go. The pollen in the air is agitating. I knew you wouldn't let us down. Thank you very much, Inspector. Really now? After all that, you decide to stiff us? Fine. That's your prerogative, but I think you'll realize in time that you made the wrong choice. Yes, and Slug will go back to making sure your shipments get safely to you. I think that's the first interesting suggestion I've heard since our back and forth began. Slug can wait for an increase in costs. I hope we won't have this conversation again. Really now. I consider myself more of a watch canid, here to make sure you don't try to run off without paying us. Congratulations, Hathaway. Not everyone's abandoned your orchards. I think it's more of a wonder that nothing in these law-forsaken orchards has managed to kill them. I have never wanted to strangle someone with my bare hands as badly as I do in this moment. In your delusional fantasy, the waspitos wouldn't be out until next pollination cycle. Wouldn't someone notice the rampant mechanicals beforehand? Stop wasting everyone's time, Hathaway. What you're proposing is infinitely less likely than an idiot maneuver by one of your incompetent workers. I won't hear any further slander. That's satisfactory, right, Inspector? Right? Does our friend have evidence? Did they bring one of those supposed employees with them? No? Then this hearsay is a waste of my time. Slug has not done anything to the orchards, as I have already told you 1,000 times. But the sooner we're paid, the less you'll have to worry about. Understood? I see. Just a visitor, then. I'm sorry you had to come in on such a brusque conversation. Not everyone appreciates the work Slug does on Eridanos. Back again, eh? With all the hullheads I've dealt with here, chatting with you is like a breath of fresh air. Ironic, considering the fragrance of the orchards. What can Slug do for you? Certainly. When I'm not out on a job, they usually stick me in the Slug mess hall. Well, he's being difficult, as you've no doubt seen. All I'm here to do is enforce an agreed-upon business relationship. But our friend here is disinclined to settle. I know what you must be thinking, but no, I'm not here to atomize his kneecaps. I just want Slug to get what we're owed. Do I? Didn't realize that expecting my company to be paid for its work was extortion. You should try telling that to the board. Much as we love giving the bureaucrats 29% of our profits, technically not. Official contracts have some rather obscene fees and documentation. We haven't been hostile when their payments came up short either. In fact, Rizzo's is more of a danger to the orchards than us, considering all the workplace injuries. If I hear that question one more time, I swear. Look, we just want to get paid. Hampering our clients' productivity is not a good way to get paid. In fact, it's bad business. Nothing that you couldn't observe yourself. I try not to spend much time here. Hate the outdoors. Nope. Sorry, but this is the first I've visited this area in over a month. Shame about Helen. Liked her movies. You're weird. Generous, but weird. The sentiment is nice, But Rizzo's doesn't just pay money. They're also literally our meal tickets. Unless you also happen to own an orchard, I don't think you can clear this guy. If you haven't already noticed, these orchards are more of a wreck than even some of the cities on Monarch. Mismanagement, I suspect. Instead, our company's opted for a non-official manager's agreement. I'm just here to make certain our friend over there pays on time. Celebs as big as Helen always seem to elicit strong binary opinions in people. But that's neither here nor there. Yes, I think we've spoken enough about that imbecile. You seem to have murdered my business contact. Unfortunate. Don't mistake me. I considered doing the same thing 14 times over the course of our conversation, but corpses aren't known for paying their dues on time. Sorry, can't talk. We're busy having a very tedious conversation. All right, it seems I need to say it yet again. We're not stomping upon your purple berries or knocking your workers off the planetoid. All we want is for you to pay your dues. This is how the conversation has gone for the last hour and a half. As you can see, it hasn't been terribly productive. Regardless, Slug's Protection Service has ensured the Rizzo's has had zero problems with its shipments at the docks. And all for a reasonable price. I may be a service collector, but that doesn't mean I can't make a damn fine triple pie. Yes, I'll be sure to do that. Looting his corpse is also a bit of a faux pas. I'll think of something. Thanks for the thought, but it might be best if you excuse yourself from the situation. Salutations, my murderous young friend. Hope you haven't killed anyone else of late. Unless they deserved it. What was my problem, you mean? The man owed Slug money and wasn't paying. Normally, when we want that money, we use our words to get it. Your actions, however, have forced me to muddle through weeks of paperwork to issue a formal payment request to Rizzo's. The request will likely be conveniently ground up in the gears of corporate bureaucracy, keeping Rizzo's from ever paying. So thanks for that. And what exactly makes you think they were Slug affiliated? Did they come up to you and whisper their employer's name in your ear? Give you a peck on the cheek? Oh, didn't realize you were a fellow Slug. Those folks probably were just ordered to attack anything that looked like a Rizzo's employee. I guess you fit the bill. The boss instructed them to damage company property, though they're currently only slated to start strong-arming later today. I've got no idea what this blowhard is on about. If you honestly think Slug is present in the orchards, I'd say you and the orchardist are cut from the same cloth. The boss instructed them to damage company property, though they're currently only slated to start strong-arming later today. I've got no idea what this dead blowhard was on about, and I still want to get paid. Seems you and I are in a similar boat, and I think you're a rather shrewd negotiator. Very well. Feisty? No, I guess it'd be apt to say that I don't. Well now, you're a regular diplomat's diplomat, huh? Might be that there are some Slug employees out and about, and it might be that they're supposed to tamper with the orchards later today, if negotiations fail. But by later today, I don't mean now. Believe me or don't, but whatever's going on in the orchards is more than our doing. Just some speculative thinking. Nothing to concern yourself with. Perhaps you'd be less worrisome if you merely paid Slug what we're owed. I already told you that I do not. I'm not saying anything more about whether our workers are or are not present anywhere. Ever. Your continuing to ask is trying my patience. I'll be as brusque as I like, thank you very much. So, our situation is finally resolved. I've still got some paperwork to work out here, but after that, goodbye orchards. I'd thank you for finally allowing me to leave this law-forsaken manure patch, but your choices have rendered every miserable hour I spent here an utter waste. There are only so many ways I can say your decision was proper, Inspector, but I'm happy to tell you as many ways as you want. At the end of the day, it's almost amazing how easily you were able to solve both of our issues. Shame you aren't living in Byzantium. Could have been an intercorporate diplomat. My contract forbids me from attacking potential customers. But if this gets me fired, I'll no longer be beholden to it, or have anything to live for. Keep that in mind. You prevented all of the time I spent standing in these horrible orchards from going to waste. So I'll say it again. You made the right choice. Thank you. But at the moment, I'm more than pleased to take advantage of your considerable skill. Thanks for ending this nightmare, Inspector. You're welcome to. I don't have any secrets. Hope that was sufficiently interesting.